Hey folks, All Outdoor One here. Welcome to another video. Yep, it's the first nice day that we've had in a long time, and as it coincides with the weekend, I've decided to capitalise and get myself out into the woods. Underfoot is squelchy, so everything's going to be saturated, no doubt, making fire lighting a bit harder, but I'm sure we'll manage. It's that weird time of year where you're getting pretty big fluctuations between nighttime and daytime temperatures. I think tonight it's going to get down to about 1 to 2 degrees above zero, so almost freezing, but daytime temperature now is 13 degrees C, almost t-shirt weather, and in the sunshine, definitely nice. I'll tell you what folks, I'm getting old. Lugging a 45-pound pack is not quite as easy as it used to be. The additional couple of pounds of winter weight, back fat, is definitely not helping either. Especially with a heavy pack on your back and the ground being very muddy. It's a lot easier to lose your balance, so you have to take sort of slightly smaller steps than you normally would. I am gearing up, or perhaps more appropriately gearing down, for some ultralight camps in the summer coming. I'm going to see just how few pieces of equipment I can really take and still maintain some kind of level of comfort and protection. I will be practicing in familiar territory, so no real risk there, but eventually would like to head out into some much more remote areas with a truly lightweight bushcraft setup. Hello folks, All Outdoor One here, and this is exactly why I love coming to the countryside. Check out this little beastie here. I'm not sure what kind of snake it is. First time I've seen a snake in the wild in the UK, to be honest. That was cool. Although I really do love these woodlands, and there are a lot of resources here, but the one vital missing resource is water. There are some stagnant pools to be found in the woods after heavy rain, and I have attempted to filter these before, and the resulting liquid was not very palatable, although I ensured through filtration and purification that indeed it was safe to drink. However, from where I normally set up camp, it's a good hour walk each way, so it works out easier to just carry in water, which I really hate doing, especially for a 2-3 day trip, as this amounts to approximately 7-8 kilos, about 12 to 15 pounds, and that's just water weight. If I had the luxury of having a water source here, that would be a real game changer. However, no such luck, and that will have to be a location that I research in the future. Wow folks, I'll tell you what, that was a hard slog. With a summer loadout, I can do that walk in about 35-40 minutes. Now it's taken me 55 minutes. So extra 20 minutes basically, on account of all the extra goodies in the rucksack. Well folks, my glasses are steamed up, I'm sweating like a pig, and yet somehow when you get out here and you feel that tranquility envelop you, it all becomes worth it somehow. Always important to keep your energy levels up So before I go ahead and set up camp, as it's a nice day and there's no chance of rain in the immediate future, although there is some predicted later for tonight, I'm going to go ahead and have a little snack right now just to keep me bolstered. I don't know what it is about a Scotch egg in the outdoors, but somehow definitely makes it taste a lot better. So folks, as I have my winter loadout with me, I've got my winter bag, which is the Highlander 99 litre Forces dry sack. Sadly, they don't make this bag anymore. I love the 100 litre size, massive main compartment. I think it's 80 litres on the main and 2 10 litre compartments on the side, something like that. And it's one of those bags where it's just so massive. If you need to pack up your camp quickly for any reason, you can pretty much just shove everything in there and get going, as opposed to my kind of summer style loadout, which involves compressing everything down neatly into compression stuff sacks, etc., and getting everything packed away, squared away nice and neatly. However, I still love this rucksack, and I've actually got 2 of them. When I heard that they were going to stop making them, I decided to get another one for myself. So yeah, rock solid. I've had this one for 8 years now, taken it out on probably a good couple of 100 trips by now, and the only thing that's wrong with it is a little bit of stitching that came undone after the first time I ever used it, and the rot hasn't progressed further, so to speak. So as always folks, good practice to clear the ground of leaves and anything else. 2 reasons for this: it helps control the creepy crawlies around your tent, and also stops you getting obviously rocks and sticks and branches sticking into your back or your body whilst you sleep. And it's also a bit cleaner actually when you're cleaning up on the other end. And by that I meant packing up camp, not taking a dump. Here's another little tip, particularly relevant for you tent backpackers. Putting down a ground sheet, even if your tent has a built-in ground sheet, I'd always recommend using another ground sheet, as ultimately this will save you money by stopping holes developing in your tent's ground sheet, so you've always got a waterproof barrier between yourself and the ground. Additionally, obviously, it is also another thermal barrier between yourself and the ground. Right folks, that's the Woodland Hotel set up. Just going to unpack the rest of my stuff now, and actually let's just have a quick look. Still on this dubious camp bed, lightweight 1.5 kilogram camp bed that keeps you nicely raised off the ground by about 3 or 4 inches. As you can see, it keeps you nicely raised off the ground by about 3 or 4 inches, so you don't have to have such a big heavy sleeping mat to keep you insulated. Got a nice thin one here just for a bit of extra warmth. As I said, it will get down to about freezing tonight. So that's accommodation set up. Right folks, according to my watch, it's time for a cup of tea. Good old meth stove, or more precisely the BCB Crusader Mark II. And just in case you're wondering, sugar, tea, coffee. And to be fair to the old Fire Dragon fuel, we have almost got a rolling boil in when under 5 minutes for, let's say, a large cup of water. Just going to take a couple of minutes to enjoy this cup of coffee and then crack on with preparing some firewood for tonight's campfire. As I've recently upgraded to a slightly larger knife for the woods, previously I had the Forkniven F1, I've decided to leave the axe at home, so I'm just using my knife and a wood saw to collect all my wood for fire tonight. This is a customised Opinel, the large wood saw version. Very lightweight, thin slicey blade, but actually very durable. My last one lasted me about 4 to 5 years, I can't remember exactly, but about 4 or 5 years before I managed to snap the tip of the blade. You know, there are some good alternatives out there. The Laplander is always a good one, and the Silky Boy. However, I think the Silky Boy is a little large, and the Laplander is probably preferable to the Silky Boy in my opinion, but neither of them are as light as this one, and still a good sized blade on there, can get through some pretty sizable branches and boughs. So we'll just go ahead and get collecting. Sorry folks, but I've had to go over to artificial light now. It's getting a bit dark. So folks, as I mentioned earlier on in the video, I've just treated myself to a little knife upgrade, and instead of the Forkniven F1, I've now upgraded my own personal woods knife to the Forkniven S1 forest knife. And that's a big step for me. I've had the F1 for years, and it has truly proved itself over and over again for me personally as a good knife to have in the woods. It's very capable, very tough, but sometimes you need to split that slightly larger piece of wood, and given that it only has approximately a 4-inch blade, it was limited in that respect. So apart from that, I really can't criticize it much. So I thought, you know, the S1 would just be a sort of larger version of that. Now, when I first looked at this knife, I didn't really understand what I was looking at. There's quite a lot of profiling going on at the tip here, and didn't really see what they were trying to do there, but after handling it for a while and taking a closer look at it, I can see that essentially it's a Forkniven F1 with a sort of 1 inch extra long blade, an extra inch of length in the blade, and this chisel profiling at the top here, which gives it sort of better penetrative properties, and I would say is probably going to be a tougher tip than on the Falkniven F1. You'll notice it has the same Thermaron plastic handle, I think it's called, which I think is a great material, very grippy, definitely provides great grip in wet weather or cold. Slightly more pronounced choil on this one, giving you better sort of finger protection here, preventing your finger from sliding onto the blade itself. It deflects it away nicely, the angle is good. So given that this is a brand new knife, this should be an absolute doddle. This is a really knotty bit. Well, we got there in the end. Well, that's definitely doing the job for me. That extra inch of length there definitely makes it easier to baton slightly larger bits of wood. Brilliant. In the meantime, just been testing out this new little meth stove that I picked up not long ago, and it's just brought my water to the boil, so that's pretty good as well. Tiny little thing. Someone selling them on eBay, can't remember who, but yeah, good job. Well folks, it's getting to that time where the chill is drawing in and it's time to get the old fire going. Got enough wood for probably 1.5 to 2 hours worth of fire. after which I shall be going to sleep and getting an early night. Probably be asleep by about 10 o'clock, 10:30 at least. That's the plan. So let's get this fire going. Managed to find some standing deadwood and have batoned it down nicely, as you saw. And now it's just a question of getting it all lit. I can feel there's a ton of moisture in everything. But hopefully we'll get this fire going soon. Starting to catch nicely now. There's nothing like a good bit of man-made tinder to get your fire going. You can call it cheating, but I call it staying warm. Well folks, dinner is served. Cheese fondue with croutons. I'm going to enjoy these. Right folks, I've had my meal. That was a nice meal. Fire's died down in the meantime, so I'm going to stoke it back up and we'll get on with some more gear talk. here's a cool piece of kit. This is from Luke over at Polymath Products. This is their fire bellows, extendable tube, so you can basically blow into your fire and get it going again. And trust me, it's a lot more efficient than trying to blow into the fire without it. Well folks, I'm a little bit knackered to be honest, and I'm just gonna head off to sleep now. So I hope you've enjoyed the trip so far. I definitely have, and I'm looking forward to a nice restful night's sleep. Well folks, remember what I was saying about those temperature variations yesterday? Woke up to snow. And it is absolutely freezing. We're definitely getting that wintry wonderland feel. Unfortunately, my car is absolutely crap in the snow, so I can't really hang around, otherwise I could get stuck here. I didn't check the weather report particularly, so I don't know how long this snow is going to last, so I wouldn't have to get moving.